This video will not contain any leaks or spoilers for the 2022 Halloween season out of respect for a company that has been near and dear to my heart ever since I first attended, way back in 2006, Spirit Halloween. If you haven't been in the loop, perhaps consider yourself blessed. Of late, Spirit Halloween images have been leaked online for a lot of Halloween fans to see. They are images of 2022 brand new Halloween animatronics and props, as well as the themes for Spirit Halloween. And I'm making it sound like a more serious deal than it is. Really, these are Halloween decorations, let's remember that. But at the same time, this is a company and a subject that's important to a lot of people, including myself. And this video doesn't really need to rely on those leaks, because this isn't just a criticism with 2022, but rather a trend I've noticed over the past several years while attending Spirit Halloween superstores. The question that has been on my mind, of course, is what happened to Spirit Halloween? I'd like to think of myself as a pretty positive person. I don't like dishing out negativity or hate on even things that I do dislike. So think of this video as a helpful suggestion video to a company that I want to personally see succeed. And I think if we can come to that realization as a Halloween community, then maybe we can assess the problem head on. None of us want Spirit Halloween to fail, but rather we keep seeing problems with a company that we feel passionately about, and then therefore we get all the more upset. I'm not going to be upset in this video. I'm very plainly going to explain my reasons why I believe Spirit Halloween has changed, and changed not for the better. I have several major points, and you may not agree with all of them, but I encourage you to hear them out, as you might get an opinion and a glimpse into my mind as why, you may have noticed, over the past several years, I haven't been purchasing as many items from Spirit Halloween. And after, yes, I've seen the images for the 2022 leaks, it seems like that trend is going to continue for me, as I don't really think any of the items this year are worth the price. And that leads into my first point. You have to understand that right now we are on the brink of an economic depression. And after the virus and a lot of different circumstances with shipping have gone on, prices everywhere, in case you haven't noticed, have raised. And that's understandable. But this issue is not just because of the last year or two. This is an ongoing problem I've noticed with Spirit Halloween and other companies selling Halloween decorations. The quality has never improved, yet the price has steadily increased. Back in 2013, I'd say the average animatronic life-size character was about $150 to $180. Now, the average is anywhere from $230 to $280. There's been a major shift, and not a spoiler of any of the products, but a lot of the prices this year are right around a cool $300. Which, to me anyways, is kind of an exclusive number for things that are way beyond the scope of what you could expect. I think a good example is Krampus. He's got a hefty price tag, but when you see the animatronic and all of the detail work and the animation put into him, you can understand the price. But there are some things over the past few years that don't seem to make a whole lot of sense as to why they're priced the way that they are. And after a while, when you see these prices continue to increase, you begin to wonder what your money is going toward. This leads into my second point. The quality for holiday decorations has never been great. Keep it in a good storage condition and your product will probably last for seasons to come. However, this stuff isn't always made the best, but that's usually reflected by a lower price tag. As prices increase, you begin to expect a certain level of quality, though time and time again I've heard horror stories of people opening up animatronics and seeing that there are parts missing, pieces broken, sensors don't work, or the product straight up doesn't work at all. This is very prevalent and something that I've always been curious about why. You look at the way products are made even from the past few years and you see things like Velcro, zip ties, paper, mache, hot glue, things that should not be manufactured in this way and things that can get ruined really easily. A lot of these products are made overseas in places like China, and you see that reflected in the enormous amount of plastics being used and things that can be broken and squished just so easily. Even the undercoats of animatronics are a lot of times wire, wrapped in pool noodle, and maybe a really cheap, flimsy plastic coating over top of it, which sometimes has the same consistency as a lid for a McDonald's cup. And the fact that we're paying $300+ for some of these items really makes me wonder why we're paying it at all. This is a lesser gripe out of the list, but it's one I still think deserves some attention, at least in my eyes. The theming for Spirit Halloween Superstores has always been pretty top-notch. However, over the past few years, they've been missing the mark for me in a few different regards. First of all, the theming back in the day used to heavily involve lighting and atmosphere, using things aside from the cardboard backgrounds of the ISEs to make the scene pop. Yes, I think the walkthroughs were a great way to add on to this, but they're missing some key lighting to set the mood. Everything is so bright, it's very flat, there's not a whole lot of depth and dimension to it, and because of that, it kind of makes me get lost in what could be a really cool experience, and that's unfortunate. My major gripe with the themes, however, are that the themes do not reflect the animatronics in them. Years ago, I used to make theme prediction videos or suggestion videos where I did mention some themes that we wound up seeing, including an alien kind of testing site, which eventually I think was Area 31, a tiki island, a boat, lighthouse, and the list goes on. But the reason I chose those is because we could see headhunter props, scuba divers, mermaids, pirates, aliens, things that we don't typically see from Spirit Halloween and the manufacturers of their products. Nowadays, it seems like we're getting themes of a tiki island with clowns and just random props just thrown into it. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. And again, I'm not going to spoil this year, but it really feels like none of the characters, none of the animatronics in the theme fit the theme at all. In fact, online props fit the theme better than the props that are in the store do. So I really don't know why this is the case. I understand they want diversity. Not every prop has to fit the theme, but it seems like they're just throwing this all together. I don't know if this is a last-minute decision. I don't know if this is just because they don't care. I'm not sure the reason, and maybe I'm griping on this a little too harshly, but it is something that's bugged and irked me over the past several seasons. This next one, I don't really care a whole ton about, but I do understand people's gripes with it, and similar to the themes, while it doesn't impact the purchasable decorations and animatronics necessarily, it does affect the Spirit Halloween experience, and that is, of course, the sneak peeks. Now, when I was younger, the sneak peeks were pictures of the stock images for each of the products posted to Spirit Halloween's Facebook page. But of recent, they've had a pretty even track record of slowly showing us different products until the grand reveal at the end of July when the flagship store opened. But last year and this year, a lot of fans were disappointed when Spirit Halloween essentially took that away and basically made a countdown to a certain date when they would reveal everything. Now, I understand that some people don't really care. I don't really care too much. I'm fine with either option, but I do know a lot of people really looked forward to the sneak peeks, and to me it shows that Spirit Halloween doesn't want to do them, either because they take too much work to make these videos, or they just had a different direction in mind. But either way, I would implore Spirit Halloween to listen to their fan base, because this is something that for a lot of them is really important. This is the one that's going to get me in hot water, folks. But I have to say it. This one might be the most important one to me, but it's certainly up there, and I don't think I'm alone in my opinion here. But in my opinion, the Spirit Halloween animatronics and props just aren't scary anymore. Now, I know that scary is subjective, and I've also been around these things for so long that I'm pretty desensitized. I'm also a horror writer and a horror movie junkie, so I've seen my fair share of scary stuff. However, I would argue for people to go back and look at Halloween products from yesteryear compared to today. And I can only describe the products now as giant Happy Meal toys, because that's kind of what they are. Very bright paint jobs, not a ton of detail on certain items, and an abstation, that's not a word, a taking back of gore and blood and anything that's really too dark and creepy. Now, I should play devil's advocate here. Blood and gore does not make something scary. However, when something calls for blood and gore, it needs to be there. A product like the Butcher is a perfect example. An animatronic that has a bloody pig head as its mask, holding a giant meat cleaver, needs to have some gore to get the point across for the character. That, along with many other products, shy away from the scary stuff, and even products that are legitimately creepy, like Miss Mercy and Little Daisy and the Maestro, were in-box only, because I fear that Spirit Halloween thinks it's going to scare its younger demographic. And I may be talking to you. You might be one of the younger Spirit Halloween fans, as I was when I was a kid. But you might agree with me in this, is that the whole reason that I love Halloween and I loved Spirit Halloween when I was a kid is because they did have edgy items. They did have bodies that were cut in half and decrepit, gross zombies and organs and things that you couldn't usually see. This was the kind of stuff I was into. Now, it seems like everything's glossed over. It's got like a corporate polish to it, and it just irks me. It's not really scary, they're not really intimidating, and they always seem to talk. The props won't shut up. There's a certain animatronic coming out this season, not gonna spoil it. It's a servo-based animatronic from what I'm aware of, and it's some form of a corpse. I think you might know what it is. If this animatronic talks and has phrases, I'm not interested in purchasing it, simply because I don't want to hear a prop rattle on about how it's going to eat and steal my soul, or it's going to get me, or have a spooky Halloween party. I don't want to hear any of that. I want it to be creepy, I want it to be scary. Especially for my purposes of a haunted house, to have a prop go off and do some monologue for 2 minutes means that guests are walking by and not getting any thrill. I much rather prefer constant motion decorations that do a constant scare motion to attract and attack the most amount of guests. That's a very specific gripe, but that's all in the giant nutshell of I do not think the props are as scary as they used to be, and I hope they get back to a darker and more sinister place as I think fans deserve and expect. Hey, if you want to appeal to both demographics, Spirit, I think a really good idea would be make the front theme more of a kid-friendly one, and then make a back theme that's a lot darker for more mature fans. As I wrap up, I just want to say that I've always enjoyed Spirit Halloween, and I love Halloween and the Halloween season. Maybe Spirit's watching this. I don't want to feel antagonistic towards Spirit Halloween. I think a majority of the Spirit Halloween fan base is rooting for Spirit Halloween to make things that they're excited about. It works on both ends. We get really cool products for affordable prices, and Spirit Halloween makes a ton of sales. Unfortunately, this year, the prices are far too high, the quality is not as good, and the products are lackluster in my opinion, so I'm not going to be spending a ton of my money at Spirit Halloween this year. That's just how the economy works, and I hope that Spirit will take note of some of these issues for the future in delivering some really cool scares, because I know they have the talent. I know the people that work for Spirit Halloween are very clever, very creative, and I hope they can bring those ideas across to the masses. I may be speaking to people who don't agree with me, and that's fine. If you like certain things that I don't like, it's water under the bridge, it's no skin off my nose, but I do hope you'll take some of these points into consideration, because I love Spirit, I love Halloween, and I want it to be the creepiest and best holiday that it can be. Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video. Remember, for all things Halloween, this is hauntformer. Also, you know what, while I have you, I gotta clear this one thing up. I get a ton of comments about my Why I Hate Clowns video or whatnot. I should clarify that video real quick, because this is a video similar in style and in approach. I don't like a lot of clowns because they're big, giant monsters. Some of them work. I think Crouchy isn't terrible, but I prefer the clowns like Silent and Deadly or Waving Wally. Clowns were always creepy back in the day, back in their heyday in the late 70s and what have you, and in the carny world, because they looked innocent and they had a bright smile, but they were kind of creepy in their approach and handling certain things, and for that reason they came across as a little eerie. Now, these clowns look like they could have horns coming out of their head. They're evil, they're monsters, they're gross, and to me, that ruins the effect. Make a big monster, sure, but don't make a clown into some freakish thing. It ruins the reason they were scary in the first place. And on top of it, oversaturation. I understand clowns are popular sellers, doesn't mean they shouldn't have any clowns, but it does mean to add some variety. Do something different that's not the same old clown. And if they are going to do a ton of clowns, might I suggest a clown theme to go along with them? It seems like they're avoiding that for some reason at the Spirit Halloween stores, and I'm really unsure as to why. Anyways, just wanted to clarify that. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.